If you're sewing with cotton, maybe pillow covers, tote bags, or other projects, these 10 beginner-friendly tips will make your projects look neater, easier, and more professional. I know how exciting and sometimes a little tricky sewing with cotton can feel at first, so today I'm sharing some of my favorite beginner tips to help you feel calm, confident, and proud of every project. So let's get started. Every cotton fabric is a little different. Some are light, some are thicker, and that means your stitches might look too tight or too long. So before sewing your project, grab a small piece of scrap fabric and test your stitch length. It's one tiny step that makes your stitches look professional instead of homemade. Tip 1. Test your stitch length. Stitch length too short equals stiff seam. Too long equals loose or uneven. Mistake to avoid. Jumping straight into your project without testing stitch length first. Result, your stitches may look too tight or too loose on cotton, leaving puckers or gaps. Tip 2. Press seams flat before sewing more layers. This one is simple, but it's a game changer. Press every seam flat before you sew another layer. It helps the stitches set into the fabric and keeps your project smooth instead of bulky. If you ever wondered why your seams don't line up or why your corners feel puffy, pressing between steps fixes that. It's what separates beginner projects from the ones that look store-bought. Mistake to avoid. Skipping the iron and sewing over wrinkled seams. Result, uneven layers, bulky corners, and seams that never quite lay flat, especially noticeable on cotton. Tip 3. Change the bobbin if it's running low. Have you ever been in a groove sewing away and suddenly nothing's stitching? You just ran out of bobbin thread. So before starting a long seam like a pillow edge or a toe strap, peek at your bobbin. If it looks low, go ahead and replace it. It takes just a few minutes and saves you from redoing a whole line of stitches later. Mistake to avoid. Starting a long seam when your bobbin is nearly empty. Result, you'll run out halfway through, leaving open seams and wasted time re-sewing. Tip 4. Use the seam guidelines on the needle plate. For straight, even seams every time, just keep your fabric edge lined up with the guidelines on your needle plate. They do all the work for you. Line the edge of your fabric up with the measurement you need, like 3/8 or 1/2 inch, and just keep your eye on that line, not the needle. That's the secret to clean, even seams every time. Mistake to avoid. Watching the needle instead of the guideline. Result, wobbly seams that drift off your seam allowance before you even notice. Tip 5. Lift the presser foot slightly over thick seams. When sewing through thicker areas like corners or where straps meet, don't force it. Just lift your presser foot slightly with your lever and help your machine glide over. It keeps your stitches smooth and prevents that loud thump sound that makes every beginner jump. Mistake to avoid. Forcing your fabric through thick layers without lifting the presser foot. Result, uneven stitches, bent needles, or even a broken needle if you hit a fabric speed bump. Remember to click the subscribe button for more beginner-friendly sewing tips and tutorials. Tip 6. Trim seam corners for sharp edges. If your corners always turn out round or chunky, you're not doing anything wrong, you just need to trim. Cut a small diagonal across your seam before turning the fabric right side out. It removes bulk and gives you that clean, crisp corner that makes your project look perfectly pressed. Mistake to avoid. Turning your project right side out without trimming the corners. Result, puffy, rounded corners instead of crisp, professional points. Tip 7. Always raise the needle and presser foot before removing your fabric. This tip teaches proper machine handling and prevents bent needles, snagged fabric, and thread nests, which are bunched up thread. When you're done sewing, make sure your needle is raised all the way up before you lift the presser foot and pull out your fabric. This releases the thread tension and keeps your stitches from stretching or snapping. This is one that's easy to demonstrate but makes a big difference. It reinforces good sewing habits and keeps your technique smooth. Mistake to avoid. Stopping the needle up while pivoting or adjusting fabric. Result, the fabric shifts out of place, causing crooked corners or uneven seams. Tip 8. Top stitch for strength and style. One easy way to make your projects look more professional is top stitching. It's not just decorative, it adds strength and keeps seams flat. Try using a longer stitch and sew about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. You'll instantly see the difference. Mistake to avoid: sewing too close to the edge or using a tiny stitch length. Result: wobbly top stitching that looks uneven or pulls the fabric instead of laying smooth. Alright y'all, it's mystery sewing sound time. What are these 3 different sounds? Tip 9. Use the hand wheel to take the first few stitches slowly. Instead of pressing the pedal right away, turn your hand wheel to make your first 2 or 3 stitches slowly. That anchors the fabric and gives you a smooth, steady start. No more fabric jumping around or crooked first lines. Mistake to avoid: pressing the foot pedal full speed right from the start. Result: the fabric jerks, the stitches go crooked, or your thread jams underneath. Tip 10. Use matching thread top and bottom. This one's small but powerful. Use matching thread in your top spool and bobbin. When they're the same color and weight, your stitches disappear into the fabric. It's such an easy way to make your cotton projects look like they came straight from the boutique. Mistake to avoid: using 2 different thread colors or types, cotton on top, polyester in the bobbin. Result: visible contrast on seams and possible tension imbalance, leaving uneven stitches. And there you go, 10 simple beginner tips that make cotton sewing projects so much easier and cleaner. Which one is your favorite? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more beginner-friendly sewing videos. If you'd like to see some of the handmade items I've sewn, I have a few listed in my Poshmark shop. The link's down in the description if you'd like to take a peek. If you want to take things a step further, grab my beginner source guide in the description below. Don't start another project without this checklist. It's the secret to sewing with confidence, not confusion. Grab your free copy and make every stitch stress-free.